Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host, and today's episode is on Goddess Motivation. Now, I want to make this about you understanding your ability to choose your power, right? To get into your power, that you choosing this path. And yes, this path is, of course, an acquired taste. Not every soul is ready yet to be on this path. But if you are here, then you are certainly being called into yourself. And that's really what your power is. This is not about your external ways of asserting your power. This is about your inner power. This is about your light, your soul, your wisdom. Yes, your authentic empowerment. And so I'm going to give you in today's episode 3 habits. The first habit is going to take you into your light, help you build your light. The second habit is going to get you into your flow, get you to learn your flow. And the third habit is going to get you into your power. Yes. So, but before we dive in, hello. We've done some more timeline jumping, haven't we? It's been intense and amazing. And I mean, I have days where I'm just so, I'm just flooded with peace. I am just peace and so blissed out, but not in an imbalanced way. It's just this and it's amazing how much more we're up leveling, right? These frequencies just keep coming in, and all we can do is roll with it and keep integrating, keep breathing and feeling, and use these 3 habits that I want to share with you that will certainly really take it to the next level for you, right? So, but these habits require commitment. Because this path of inner goddess embodiment, of you really ascending and focusing on that and being in the mindset of this growth, goddess work is growth mindset. It's expansion mindset. Goddess is creation, vibration in human form. And this is a path that does require commitment, time, effort, prioritizing. You know this, and these habits are definitely big aspects to this work, and these are also almost like somebody had asked me to give a roadmap as to what are the things we need to focus on to see where I'm at. And what a great question, what a wonderful request, right? And so these 3 are foundational, obviously, right? There are so many other awarenesses to have, but these 3 are foundational, huge, will change your life forever, for the better. And so make sure you do it in your own way, in your own comfort. Make sure you work with it without pressure. Because the second we add on pressure, the second I have to, I need to, the second we do that, we're already not in the right energy. So my gorgeous, let's go ahead and let's focus onto the breath. Go ahead and, some exhales, let it all out. Inhale, peace. Exhale, the day, the week, all of it, right? And do it in your own way for yourself. Keep your eyes open as you continue to focus onto the breath. You are the one in and exhaling. Consciously, however deep, however slow, adjust that to the doing, to the moment. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the first habit. The first habit is alone time. I'm sure your ego right now is going, oh no. Yes, Goddess loves her alone time. Goddess needs her alone time. Goddess luxuriates in her own energy in her alone time. And alone time is not to be mistaken for exiling yourself or removing yourself from life and responsibilities or the joys and pleasures of life. It doesn't mean isolating. No. Alone time is a sacred time. It's sacred time to be in yourself and to go deeper into yourself, to be in your soul connection, to nurture the soul connection, to fortify it, to move more deeply into your light, into your inner communication, right? This alone time. So for example, for myself, I love alone time. And it is the time that not only, there are different times, different alone times, right? There are different times of different energies present for this alone time. Sometimes when it's alone time, this is when I'm needing to integrate the upgrades, the higher frequencies. And that requires for me to be very still, very calm, very peaceful. This is when I take my baths or my walks, right? So the alone time in this way, in integration time and calibration time, can definitely be movement or slow doings, but it has to feel right. It can also just be in the beingness, right? Allowing yourself to just be or rest in active receiving. And then other times when I need my alone time, it's when I'm being creative, right? When I'm channeling, when I'm receiving the inspiration for my work, my projects, my mission. And so this looks a little bit different for me. So that alone time is music, always, a little bit of dancing, maybe a lot of dancing at times. This is when I'm just moving about and I'm dancing and I've got the music and I've got notebooks all over the house, right? I always like to write things down. And so this is when, I don't push it, I don't force it. I state the intention, and the intention usually is, let's focus on this project, or let's focus on this aspect of a program or a project. And, and so I'm here and I'm flowing and I'm breathing and I'm dancing and I'm moving and I'm luxuriating in my energy and I'm enjoying myself. And maybe I'm cleaning, or maybe I'm putting things away and just tidying up the house. So I can certainly be doing things that under any other circumstances could be a chore. But in these moments when I'm really in luxuriating, in this flow within myself, within my own energy, this is when I'm actually okay to do these chores, because they keep me moving and flowing. And as I'm flowing, then all of a sudden things come in, ideas come in, guidance comes in, inspiration comes in, and I'm writing it down, but I'm still continuing my doings. And sometimes it's so big that I sit down and I'm seated for a whole while, right? Taking it all in, big downloads, writing it all out. And so that kind of alone time is never out in the world. This is not for me to go on a walk. However, if I'm on a walk or I'm taking a bath, of course, inspiration comes in at other times as well. I'm just trying to help you understand alone time as a sacred, magical time with yourself. And so as you are in yourself, in your own energy, in this alone time, what happens is you're connecting more with your soul, right? When you're by yourself, you're not looking at other people, you're not having to deal with other people, you're not enmeshing with other people and their energies, and you're not having to relate, or it could be a good thing, but the point is that alone time is really that space for me and anybody who wants to be on this inner goddess embodiment path to connect more deeply and to listen to self and to enjoy self and to be in self in this very loving and enjoying way, right? I love my own energy. I love my own company. I love being in myself and just going about my things and doings and day as I feel like I want to, right? As I feel guided to, as I feel inspired to. And so alone time, it connects you more deeply into your soul. It opens you into your light, because when you're by yourself, and I'm not suggesting thinking. And so this is where I want to actually bring in the umbrella for all of this. Because being in yourself, in your own energy and enjoying yourself, that's feminine energy. And this is not thinking. So whether I'm bathing or walking or sunbathing or playing music and dancing and doing things and focusing on inspiration and creativity, I'm never thinking. I am never, ever thinking. And that's the masculine energy, right? That's the masculine energy that is the thinking. And it's also the ego, which of course we know it's the ego that ties into the masculine energy. The ego wants to occupy itself with external things all the time, filling the void, filling the loneliness, filling the restlessness, filling the need to, prevent FOMO. Whatever it is. So the umbrella here for all of these three habits is feminine energy versus masculine energy. And it's not versus. Versus is really the wrong way of saying it. Because in the end, the goal is to embody both fully. Embodying both fully doesn't mean you have to be in both equally. Embodying both fully means you are in charge of both energies. And the reason why I said feminine energy over here is right brain, left side of the body. Left brain, masculine energy, right side of the body. So again, it's not about having to be in both equally. For most people, that will be the case at best. You on your goddess path, you will lean more into your feminine energy. I personally prefer to be very deeply in my feminine energy. But I had to first embody my masculine energy and my feminine energy fully. And embodying the masculine energy doesn't mean you have to become, all butch and controlling and, everything is action and doing and thinking. No. Embodying the masculine energy fully also means controlling your masculine energy. Because when you embody that fully, you're in charge of it. You know it because you know yourself. Embodiment means healing, so that you can be it fully. And for me, my masculine energy I had to rein that in big time, right? It's controlling the ego, it's controlling the thoughts, it's being aware of my masculine patterning and conditioning. Remember, all the masculine patterning and conditioning, it's all masculine energy. Feminine energy is spirit, is soul, is light, is beingness, it's wisdom from your higher self, right? It's the expansion, infinite expansion. The feminine energy is not so much of this world. And yes, there's thinking in the feminine energy. Remember, the thinking, however, in the feminine energy is very much growth, expansion orientated, solution orientated, with the assistance of the higher self, with the assistance of the higher light guidance. How can I see this through a better lens? What's the bigger perspective here? What's the silver lining? What am I meant to learn here? How could I respond from my highest light? Right? Though that's the kind of thinking that's on the feminine side. And there's, of course, emotion in the masculine side as well. But we also now know that that is all past memory, ego, right? The ego collects, it's like a huge filing cabinet, and it collects all of the data because the ego doesn't know that you're a soul. The ego doesn't know you're light. And so all of the files in the ego cabinet are all past experiences. That's why it is so important to learn your ego voice and to learn to bring your ego onto the same page. And all of the 3 habits will take you out of your ego into a deeper sense of your feminine seat. Okay, good. So, you being in your alone time is you being in your feminine energy. And your ego, the old conditioning of what you've lived, will go up against that. Your ego, your patterning, your conditioning, even your coping mechanisms are going to fight alone time. Because there's going to be, like I've said, that FOMO, or, you know, I need to be doing something. I should be out in the world. I shouldn't be isolating. And so, remember, it's not isolation. It's very consciously chosen alone time that is sacred, that is necessary to connect more deeply and more fully with your soul through your feminine energy. It's being, it's flowing, it's creativity, it's luxuriating in yourself and listening to yourself and just going with that trust in yourself that can only come from alone time. It sharpens your senses, it brings in upgrades, it raises your vibration. Alone time is a necessity. From here, let's dive into the second habit because they are kind of interconnected. So now we're here in this alone time, which deepens you into your soul and into your light, right? Light embodiment. And what that now brings up and what this now triggers is that the external. We're living in this human life. We're living in this earthly reality. And alone time, some of us, I used to do this in my earlier years. I would just take in information, right? To like, I would read and videos and it was all about learning and taking in information. And that is okay, and it's appropriate to a certain degree because it is for the growth, right? It's for the ascension. So it's good to have a certain amount of input. But there comes a point when you, on your journey, you have to let go of attaching to the external and needing information from the external. I am now at a point for myself where people talk about, oh, did you read this book? Did you read that book? I'm like, no. Did you see this movie? Did you see or listen to that podcast? Do you know about this podcast? And I'm like, no, because I am not taking in other people's voices and energies and vibrations and perspectives any longer. Am I ignorant to it? No. Do I sometimes have an awareness of, who's saying what? Sure. But my point being is that, and again, this is the ego, right? The ego knowing only the earthly feels that it's necessary to know and to listen to the podcast and watch all the videos and read all the books and just gather knowledge from the outside, from other people. And so you, in your goddess draws on her own wisdom, draws on her own blueprint, draws on her own origin of frequency, draws on her own path and intuition with that. You, on this path, you've got to go deeper into yourself, and that's when alone time now turns into not attaching to the external anymore. So we're going deeper into the feminine energy here, right? And so now we're learning to flow, because this is the second habit where you're now learning to flow. Not just when you're in alone time, but also when you're in regular life, regular moments with people. Because attaching to the external, we know the masculine energy is everything human, everything external, and ego. And so not only taking in information from other people is that energy of the masculine and the ego, but it's also attaching to outcomes, attaching to people, places, things, wanting things to be in a certain way or in a certain timing, or having expectations as to, oh, I need this to go, I need this to happen. It's this urgency, it's this attachment to the meaning that the ego likes to give to this reality. And so to pull back, not just from taking in information from the outside, but also from attaching to outcomes, from attaching to it has to be this way or that way. Because when we're attaching, the second we're holding on and we're needing it to be this one way, we are breaking the flow, stopping the flow, right? We're back in the ego, we're back in the masculine energy, and it keeps us from being in our own guidance, flowing through life from within the feminine energy, so that we actually we're having the ability to be flexible. Remember, feminine energy is flexible. The river flows, the river is flexible. If there's a branch in the river, flows right over it. If rocks have fallen into the river either flows through it, under it, around it, over it. Right? You've got to stay in the flow, because life is like that. Branches or trees will fall into your path. Rocks will happen. Earthquakes could happen, right? So in the river, still though, endlessly flowing, just finds a way to, move around it, move over it. There's always a continuum with every challenge, with every experience. And as we are now birthing the new earth, we have to stay so flexible and in our intuition, in our inner guidance, in our inner wisdom at all times, because things can change. That which seemed to be the way it would work all of a sudden is not the right way anymore. And then all of a sudden there's a reroute into a better way, into a higher timeline. As we continue to integrate these higher frequencies, we are shifting and pivoting onto higher timelines, which that will always mean stay flexible. There might be like a new way now. Instead of left, we're now turning right. So you see, alone time is not only connecting you into your soul more and building your light more, it is also now helping you to trust yourself more, to listen to yourself more, because that's what that alone time gives you. To be in your inner voice, in your inner knowing, you've got to deepen that. So you always know it, you always feel it, you're always close to it, you're in it. And therefore, yes, we interact with life. Yes, we're in the masculine energy, of course. Yes, we're taking action. Yes, we're thinking about something. Yes, we're having conversations, of course. But the inner connection to your soul as the light, in your flow, in your knowing, to, pay attention. As life comes at you too, you could be meeting new people that are possible new partnerships, right? For business, for friendships, for, relationship, intimate partnerships, So again, we are here to live these human earthly lives, yes. But it is your inner knowing, your soul speaking to you through your intuition that will tell you yes, no, this way. Let that go this way now. It's you're just really so tuned in, staying in your flow, learning to trust yourself through the alone time. And again, fighting the ego that is gonna want you to feel like you're wasting your time. What are you doing? You should be listening to this and da and go do that, and right? So the ego again is going to continue to be there for you to learn to control it. You have to learn to control your ego, to befriend it, to teach it, to train it into your ascension that yes, we are light. Yes, we are soul. Yes, we are eternal being. Yes, this is the truth of me. This is who I really am. To really breathe that into yourself, so your subconscious and your unconscious mind and your ego body and your nervous system, all parts of you have to continuously level up. Continuously. And so for you to recognize that ego voice or the masculine patterning with a smile on your face, right? And to be strong, right? You're the authority, you're the boss. Not the masculine energy, not the ego. No. You, the light, the soul, are the sovereign being playing human. Learning to control these parts of self, like I said, being fully embodied in the masculine energy means I don't let my thoughts run the show. I don't let my brain run all day, not at all. People sometimes ask me, they're like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about right now? And I'm like, nothing. Like, I generally don't think. There are times when I'm thinking, sure, but generally I don't. And that is then being replaced by much higher wisdom, by much deeper knowing. Because through the light, through the soul, you have access to the Akashic records and beyond. You have access to all the wisdom, all the knowledge that is held within this cosmos. Right? So there is much more there than the thinking brain could ever grasp. Let's dive into habit number 3. Now, habit number 3 is where you get your power. And this is definitely going to be challenging for many of you. And so last episode, this is really what inspired all of this. So thank you for the comment. See, this is why you guys leaving these comments is so important for me, to be able to see, sense, feel, know where we still need to find a deeper addressing of concepts and habits and practices and ideas and awarenesses, right? So last episode, I wasn't feeling well. Like, I was really tired and I was PMSing and I was feeling super bloated, right? And I think in the beginning there I said, oh, I feel fat, I feel tired, right? And a comment was said about, I'm sorry you felt badly about yourself. And I was like, oh, right, okay, that's how that could be perceived. And so that was not at all the case, right? And I said it in the comment as a response to, I never feel badly about myself. Ever. Ever. I am in front of myself always, right? I know that, I want to improve, right? Remember, that's goddess consciousness. I want to expand and be better. And as we're leveling up onto the higher timelines, of course, we are now representing higher frequency. Of course, we're wanting to adjust. Of course, we're wanting to get better. So, for example, when I review my videos, right? Sometimes I'm like, why am I saying, like 1,000 times in a video? I'm like, oh, okay, I've got to remember not to do that. So I'm always paying attention to myself. I'm always in self-observation, noticing myself. But never, ever with a negative attitude toward myself. Always with a positive attitude. Remember, positive attitude, sacred alone time, sacred self-observation, sacred self-improvement, right? We have to shift and pivot these old ways of perceiving that are such knee-jerk reactions so that we level up and are more and more and more aligned. And my point to all of this is that to get into your power is by being able to feel, right? And so when I was expressing that in the last podcast, it was really more about me being real, being authentic, and showing that there is no such thing as perfection, right? And feeling tired or feeling bloated and feeling fat doesn't mean that I think of myself that I'm fat or that I'm like not happy with myself. It doesn't mean that at all. It was simply an acknowledgement of that. It is an experience, right? It's an experience that comes with being in a female body. It's an experience that comes with emotions. It's an experience that comes with being human, period, right? And to learn to feel and experience things and emotions and sensations that are a part of playing human. But here is the key to how to get into your power. It is about feeling. It is about learning to feel so deeply, because the deeper that we learn to feel, the more power we hold. And all right, so they're wanting me to share this with you. And please don't mistake this as, me wanting to, boost myself, right? It's really just simple sharing. So I work a lot, I'm a Viking shaman, so I work a lot with the heritage of the shamanism of the Norse culture. And I journey to the world tree. That's where the Vikings reside. And so within the world tree, I work very closely with Hela, right? Hela is the goddess of the underworld. And when I walk through hell, and this is not religious heaven and hell, right? This is simply the underworld of the different dimensions of the world tree. And when I walk through hell, darkness bows to me. And this is not because I'm so light. This is because I hold so much power. Because I eat pain for breakfast. I eat fear for breakfast. And I'm not saying this again to be weird or that that's actually what I'm eating for breakfast, but I want you to get an understanding for how deeply my feeling capacity has grown. I have felt from when I was a child, I have always felt so much pain. I have always felt so much depression. I have always felt so much sorrow, right? I've always processed the emotions from my family. I've always processed the emotions of the pain of the world, right? I have developed such a deep capacity to feel that healing myself, right? Healing myself, I've been through my entire soul. I've been through every single one of my lifetimes. Feeling the suffering, feeling the heartbreak, feeling the loss, feeling the betrayal, feeling the loneliness, feeling the despair, right? And by doing so, processing, neutralizing, alchemizing, healing every single lifetime, every single human experience, every single facet. Of course, I've also felt and processed and integrated all of the beautiful incarnations. Of course, yes, but the power grew. My power kept growing the more I was processing the dark lifetimes, the dense lifetimes, the fearful lifetimes. Yes, so this is what gives you your power to be able to feel. And here comes the clincher. Here comes the clincher. Without the masculine energy, without the ego, feeling is purely a feminine energy place. To be able to feel fully and deeply, and to grow your capacity to feel without thinking into it, without attaching meaning to it, right? Such as in that episode, I was just sharing that I was feeling bloated in that moment, feeling fat in that moment, right? To show you there is no such thing as perfection. We must continue to feel. I am here to show you that always be authentic. I'm not here to wear a mask. I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm not here to sell you an illusion. No, I'm here to get you out of the illusion. And by feeling so deeply into all of the lifetimes and all of the emotions and all of the experiences, and to alchemize them and understanding that these are just experiences. These are just dreams we had. Remember, we're the dreamers in these dreams. And when we leave these bodies, it's like, oh, wow, that was so intense. That was so real. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I thought that was real, right? We're the dreamer of these very, very, very vivid dreams. And it's just really going through all of the dreams and not leaving the unresolved emotions in there. Because remember, emotions are the basis for karma. And whatever wasn't processed, whatever wasn't properly felt, we will have to experience and reincarnate. to experience it, to feel it. This is another reason why it is so important to feel, to let yourself feel and let yourself experience without the masculine energy attaching or hooking in or taking you into a downward spiral or making it about you being negative about yourself, right? This is another example of how important it is for you to fully embody your masculine energy. Fully embody deep, deep, deep feeling, unconditional feeling. Make it that sacred feeling. Feeling is everything. This is where you get your power. The first thing I learned when I was training in this Viking shaman modality was to go into the underworld. Viking shamans, first thing we learn is to go into the underworld, because that's where your power lies. Because it's not about continuing darkness. It's not about continuing dark energies and patterns. No, it's about processing the emotions, which will unhook darkness and its access to your soul through those lifetimes. It is about, through the alchemy of feeling unconditionally without any thoughts attaching to it or meaning, and staying in self and staying in the feminine energy and staying in the process, even though uncomfortable, even though painful, yes, sometimes, sure. But the magic that happens from this alchemy is that you become so strong, you become so powerful, because there's nothing can hook into you. No darkness can't hook into you anymore, because you're not afraid to feel. You're not afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a dream, right? Being scared of feeling or avoiding feeling or suppressing emotion is really weak. It makes us weak and accessible to darkness, right? When we're not fearlessly feeling, because it's just a dream, it's just an illusion, it's just emotion, it's just energy, it all stays in there and it's heavy and it's the baggage. When we're talking about people's baggage, that's the baggage, right? So to feel so deeply and so fearlessly whenever you get triggered in emotion. And oftentimes life right now is bringing things into our awareness that we can use to access these deeper emotions. You don't have to dive into past life necessarily to really process, to really learn to fearlessly feel, to really learn to just, right, just you feel, and it's through the feeling that you will build your power and you become invincible. There is nothing you can't handle. There is nothing that can scare you for long, right? So think of your emotions as, the more you feel, the more you get triggered. Great. Sacred feeling to grow your power, and you'll feel it. Whenever you're allowing yourself to really feel, whenever you're really processing an experience in this here and now, once you've moved through it and once you've allowed yourself to feel the discomfort, but let it pass through, not hook into it with the thoughts, but let it pass through. Everything is just about passing through. It's just energies. You'll see that afterwards you're like, oh, you feel like you just went to the gym or something. It's like, whoa, you feel stronger, you feel like more empowered. You're like, and it's a building, and you will build that to an extent that is really allowing you then to be so soft, right? Because when you hold this power, you can be so soft and so open and so flowing and so light and so peaceful, right? And so this is where all three habits, you see, they're all cycling one into the other. It's all a circle. Feminine energy, right? It's circular. And it's so easy to be soft and flowing and gentle and open when you hold all this power. It's when you don't hold this power that you have to overcompensate and pretend and put on a mask and be all tough and shut down to protect, right? That's the difference. So you see, being in your feminine energy is a very, 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 very deep process. And it's raw, and it's embracing and processing and alchemizing everything that you've experienced here on earth. And because you can have such peace and such reverence with it all, you can so feel safe in your open heart, in your flow, in your softness, because you know that power is there. And nobody will test that power, because that frequency speaks louder than any words, than any mask, than any pretending. And remember the breath. The breath follows you through every moment, through every experience, through every feeling, through the flow. It keeps you in the flow. When you're in your alone time, you flow and you're breathing because you're in your own energy, right? The breath is always your main component. Good. I know we're running over, but it was worth it. I hope you are going to write all this down for yourself so you remember. Build it into the day however you can. Build it into the week however you can. Find your way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's the truth. Find your way. You can even build it in and integrate it with your children if necessary. You'll see, you can find a way. So as always, please keep leaving comments, ask me, share with me where you're at, what you're needing to learn more about or wanting to go deeper into. And as always, I am grateful for you and your energy on this platform, and I'm sending love and light blessings to you and yours. Hugs and kisses. Ciao for now.